All right, Joby down, Weeble down, Trilogy Metals. I guess all these rare earth metal companies have been going crazy. Oh, I want to short this BTQ. Have you guys heard of this thing? BTQ. Is this Eric, what's his name's company? Is this not the right company? This may not be the right company. No, I think the 68 deal was pretty good. I think it'll go up. I'm buying it. Yeah, I thought the Sarepta data looked good. I was gonna keep looking at that today. Yeah, so the SPRB deal was a PIPE. So that's a private investment in public equity. So they used the 5-day average price. So obviously the people that got in that deal got a pretty good sweetheart deal where, you know, got a really big discount to the market price. But I think a lot of institutions know the stock now and probably will, I mean, I think it'll go to 200 or 300 pretty soon. So we'll see. Yeah, I don't even think you know what a dark pool is, Suhyun. Quantum is all fraud. I don't know why, like, just, it's gone up so much to sell your stock. What do you think is going to happen? It's going to go to, you think IonQ is going to be bigger than NVIDIA or it's going to be like Meta or something? You got lucky to sell it. Roz, I'm trying to understand it. Some of the people I've been talking to, even a couple in Goodell, just one or two, some of you guys are really stupid. It's really rather annoying. Yeah, I think they listen to a pitch and then they do the trade. I like Sarepta. Sehyun, I don't think you understand what you're even looking at. What institutions are buying in the dark pool? What the fuck are you talking about? It's very rainy out here in New York. I haven't looked at Scholar Rock in a minute. Sarepta's presenting at World Muscle Society. Some PDFs are out. The presentations are out. I should have posted them, actually. I need a better content management system, to be honest. Fixed Nibbles the cat, so Nibbles is walking around with a cone. It's so sad. And I'll try to show you guys the baby if the baby wakes up. I use 𝗏𝗏𝗘 keyboards. Trading gappers today? What does that mean? Trading gappers? Yeah, I still have clothes from 10 years ago. I probably should get some new ones. Yeah, I mean, you know, you can always think that this time is different, and then reality will set in. You know, quantum, meme coins, etc. But I think that, you know, I just stick to the way, you know, somebody's asking about options flow, and I really can't say this enough that, you know, you should not be looking at options volume and trading flow for very much of anything. I don't know anything about rare minerals, rare earth minerals. Like, I don't even know what that means. Don't know Zora. Random P&Ls. My man, random. That's so funny, Kev. Trading gappers in the dark pool with the options flow. What does the options flow tell you? That a trade happened? Isn't that called the tape? I'm not going to look at rare earths because I just don't know. You just start learning a new space, it'd be really tough. Yeah, Christian, for sure. Most biotech management teams have no idea about the stock market. They've never raised money and they just listen to the banker. And then the banker just does they're supposed to do right by the client, but they're supposed to do right by their investors too. Yeah, personally, I don't know any great investors that are looking at time and sales and divining very much from it. Traders do it a little bit but only guys on the street where blocks cross on the street. Yeah, exactly, QW. They do whatever gets the deal done. I'm buying some SP. Should really change your name. The D-Wave is 0. Yeah, I like SPRB. I think most biotech managements don't know what they're doing in capital markets. I mean, that's pretty typical. I think SPRB is like 500 or 600, maybe more. I don't think it's too late. I'm buying some. I haven't looked closely at Regenix. Don't know anything about Kraken. Well, some of you guys are really funny. Even after dilution, when professionals look at stocks that need cash, we model in that the company raises capital. So yesterday, if you read my tweet, I said that I assume the company has 3 million shares outstanding when they had 750. After the offering now, they have 1.5 million. So I'm still assuming they're going to raise more money. Capper is not a buy, never has been a buy. Perfect Prince says it's just too far away from market, too long away, but maybe not. What? In Mumbai, trading gappers, BLA submission in Q1. That's too far away. You guys make me want to not stream anymore. How much money does SPRB need to get through a phase 3? Well, they don't need to get through phase 3. That's why they're filing for approval in a few months. Oh my god. Oh my god. Those warrants aren't really warrants, they're just shares. So, yeah, around 1.4, 1.5 million shares right now. It's about 15 of us, Brian. Options listings are a funny thing. You can actually request them. I follow 𝗠𝗔𝗤𝗣𝗏 Financial Hub. That's my favorite Reddit. r/𝗠𝗔𝗤𝗏. Oh, great. Koreans. Ah, great. Koreans are here. Hangul. 𝗟𝗏𝗘𝗢𝗍. I don't know, Russo. I'm banned on Twitch. I'll say that. Not that many, Matthew Glenn. I mean, it's a very, very rare disease. I'll open up my model in a second, but basically the average lysosomal storage disease treatment does around 400 million in revenue. So obviously each drug is different, but I think this will be like that, and 5 times sales is 2 billion market cap. Discount that back a little bit. Pretty nice. Someone ban this footy digest. Hit the ban stick, please. Did you set the price at 1 million? What are you talking about? Did I set what price? J-Gamer, I don't care about your portfolio. I hate to tell you this. Don, the Twitter numbers are continuous. They're not a moment in time, so the Twitter just accumulates how many viewers. It's not how many are watching at that concurrent moment. Best analog for INQ was CMGI. Yeah, Joby did a secondary too, right? Chapman sold 1 million, INQ as he exits the company completely. Price on SPRB at 1 million because of a better quality. Oh, I see what you're saying for analogs. Analogs of other ERTs. Other ERTs are more expensive than you think. Their list price and the actual total cost are different. Brian, no, that's 14,000 people have watched. That means if they watch for a minute, they add that. There's not concurrent. Yeah, I saw the 0.72 position in Pally. It's definitely intriguing. What's the new market cap? And didn't they do a deal name here? So I don't know if they did it only in the open market, or did they do it in financing? Yeah, I wish the bankers would have represented the interests of the company a little bit better, but pipes are always a little illiquid. Screw that bottle water. Pipes are by definition a liquid, so the investor has to be locked up. You guys want to see the baby? How do I do this so that you can see maximum baby? You're my little baby. Yes, I'm a little baby. You laughing? Who are you laughing at, Dad? Elmo likes stocks. Elmo makes fun of the baggies. We make the baggies lose all their money. Why are you buying those stocks, SpongeBob? Patrick. Fish, my little guy. Simba. Simba. Yeah, my little guy. Oh, you like those buildings? You like those buildings? Those buildings are big. As big as you. You're a big boy too. Get this man on training test right now. Yeah, you farting. You farting on Dada. You pee pee on Dada. You poop on Dada. Hello, peepees. Easy money stacks. Yeah. Make a little gun with your fist. Come on. Money stacks. That's his middle name. That's his government. That's his hood name. Torque is his government name. All right, let's see how we open up here. Confluent supposedly potentially getting bought out. What is this BTQ Technologies? I really want to understand what this thing is. They say they're quantum related, so that sounds immediately. What is this? They just went public to take advantage of the quantum boom, most likely. BTQ. All right, let's look at the F10, which is the registration statement. Swiss guy. Hong Kong COO, okay. CBOE Canada. First of all, there's no successful company other than Shopify that ever came out of Canada. Ever. Revenue, 666,667 Canadian dollars. That's about, 50 US dollars. Shares outstanding, 124. Oh yeah, this thing's zero. Let's short some BTQ. I'm happy I found a new stock to short. BTQ sounds like zero. Because the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And even it opens back to 9. You told me you ever thought D-Wave would be around 40 bucks a share, I'd say. You trying to squeeze the scrubs? You can't squeeze the screeze. You can't squizzle the scrizzle. NVIDIA's up 2%. There's a new model, I want to say out of Samsung, that many AI people are looking at right now. I'm very curious what my girlfriend thinks, actually. But it's a very small model that was able to do well on the ARC AGI benchmarks. Quantum will be back down today, don't worry. I'll make a call. Okay, QUBT down, IonQ falling. I have exclusive pictures from Arizona where somebody toured the QUBT office. So I have some photos of that, which is kind of neat. Yeah, Rigetti can't be the most traded stock every day with the most amount of volume when it doesn't actually have a business. And, you know, it just doesn't make sense that Rigetti would trade as much as Apple. That makes sense to you? Tesla, NVIDIA, AMD, Rigetti, and Apple. Amazon, Palantir, Microsoft, Broadcom, Meta, Oracle, Intel, and Rigetti? Come on, something's wrong with the market. Don't pretend. Don't pretend it has anything to do with quantum physics. Quantum strengthening back up again. Tesla down a little bit. Like I said, I think it bears paying close attention to the GPU world when it comes to models and efficiency, because efficiency is the name of the game. If you can process more tokens per second, you need less GPUs. Now, Jevons paradox is always there, where you still want the GPUs because you want to do more things with them, serve more customers. And that's a race of efficiency versus compute. You know, the efficiency will keep growing, but the demand for compute will too. So it's very interesting. All NVIDIA watchers. I'm probably gonna head to the office at some point later. We certainly have to do our weekly call, so you guys won't be present for that. This is actually a really good story. Question of Godel. So I guess I could tell you guys the story of enzyme replacement therapies. So a long time ago, there was a company called Genzyme. Let me see if I can show you a little bit of this stuff on my screen here. Yeah, so a long time ago, Genzyme was one of the kind of foundational biotech companies. And it was a really incredible company that pioneered the rare disease industry, in essence. And Sanofi ended up buying Genzyme out. But Genzyme was kind of this like really special company. Why? Well, the biotech revolution allowed Genzyme, as you can see here, and I forgot Henry Blair, that's a blast from the past. This guy Henry Tremere ended up becoming kind of like one of the main statesmen of biotech. He died 8 years ago. He was a really amazing dude. And he created the rare disease business model by charging very, very high prices for orphan drugs, allowing, you know, basically this model of being able to treat really sick people. It allowed that model to exist, which is a really special thing because it really, like, maybe 𝗓𝗄𝗅 is coming out with something today. So Dr. Brady was sort of an amazing thing here. There was a kid with Gaucher disease. Gaucher is a terrible illness where the patient can't metabolize a substrate because they're missing this enzyme. Okay, so genetic deficiency makes that enzyme unavailable. The body's not making it. So the patients can die either in infancy or young adulthood, but the symptoms are terrible. Splenomegaly, so enlarged spleen. Yeah, so this is glucose cerebridase, GCD, and it just metabolizes these sphingolipids. And so if you can't metabolize them, they accumulate and they end up causing this disease. And so what they did is they started with placentas. And they harvested it from placentas. And then obviously the biotech revolution was taking place at the time where they made a recombinant version called Enzyme. And this is like some of the first stocks I ever looked at in my life. And Enzyme was just a gigantic win. but the company bought, bought and created other drugs like 𝗟𝗩𝗘𝗢𝗓 and other, these are called lysosomal storage diseases. So they kept sort of creating these. They had 𝗙𝗡𝗡𝗡 for Fabry disease, 𝗠𝗏𝗡𝗏 and myozyme for Pompe disease. So many different, drugs like that. There was a company called Biomarin that was sort of the second place or third place lysosomal storage disease company, also making ERTs, enzyme replacement therapies. You can't make the enzyme, we'll make it and give it to you, save your life. And these enzymes can cost $300K to $1 million a year because there's only 500 or 1,000 people with the disease. So they give the enzymes and it helps the patient. The enzymes aren't perfect, by the way. So Biomarin's making enzymes too, and in fact they partner with Genzyme for 𝗟𝗩𝗘𝗢𝗓. And they make other enzymes, and they make other rare disease drugs. They make 𝗥𝗡𝗙𝗀𝗧𝗏 for MPS6. Very small number of patients, but they still make it one of their biggest drugs. And again, I cut my teeth trading these stocks. I even, in the 2008 recession, I partnered with some big names to potentially acquire Biomarin, which is a pretty wild idea. But 2008 resulted in lots of stocks that were on their butt. And, we thought about acquiring the whole company. Stock was like $10 or something. Anyway, Biomarin kept making these enzyme replacement drugs, and they started to make this drug that Spruce has now. And Biomarin's a big market cap company, 10 billion market cap, but it's been a real dog over the years. The management's not been so great. So Biomarin, continues to chuck out these orphan drugs, but they want something bigger. And so they developed the hemophilia gene therapy treatment. And they're convinced this is going to be the biggest drug maybe of all time. Hemophilia is the bleeding disease, similar to enzyme replacement, but in this case it's factor replacement. You can't make these coagulation factors, and so the patient in hemophilia bleeds. And so what ends up happening is this bleeding is uncontrolled, and you need to replace the factor with recombinant factors, and often you have to take them every day and self-inject. Nowadays you can do twice a week or once a week even in some cases, but hemophilia is a lifelong disease. They developed a drug called Valrox that was supposed to be a cure. It's a gene therapy, you take it once. They thought it would be a multi-billion-dollar drug, at least 4 or 5 billion, right? So they decided to sell a lot of their stuff and no longer develop a lot of their stuff. They sold FIRDAPSE to Catalyst, which is CPRX. So they basically gave this drug away to CPRX. And CPRX market cap, 2.5 billion now. They just gave it away. It made no sense. They had FIRDAPSE globally, but they gave the US rights away to this company Catalyst. Catalyst said, thank you, we'll get this approved, and 2.5 billion free. Biomarin could have kept it and they would have 12.5 billion market cap instead of 10 billion. But no, they wanted to go all in on Valrox. So they sold the Spruce drug as well to a private company for nothing. They gave it away. They said, Valrox is going to make us, a huge company like Alnylam or Regeneron or something like that. Well, Valrox was a dud. Almost nobody takes it. People are comfortable with their factor injections. Valrox doesn't work over really long periods of time, so it's not really a lifelong cure, but it works pretty well. So now Spruce has this enzyme replacement therapy from Biomarin, and again, is it going to make them the next Alnylam or Regeneron? No. Spruce is going to look more like the next Catalyst, where they have a nice little drug that is going to do a few $100 million in revenue, and that's it. What's a few $100 million in revenue worth in biopharma land? Maybe 5 times sales. And, 5 times a few hundred is $1 billion. If it's 400 million in revenue, well, that's 2 billion. So it's going to be one of those. And right now it's trading for 250 million. And you do have to discount back those future prices. But in general, it's pretty much what you see is what you get. I will say this drug's a little bit different for a few reasons. One, it's given by what's called an Ommaya Reservoir, Ommaya shunt. So it's a flap that's created in the brain. I'll show you how it works, but you guys may not like to see this, so look away if you're squeamish. But my first chief medical officer taught me this. As we were going to develop a brain drug, and I said, how are we going to get this into the brain? And he says, let's do Ommaya. I said, what's Ommaya? It's 10 plus years ago. You know, shout out to Chris James. And he says, yeah, just show me how it's done. And he says, well, it's this flap. And I said, is that really going to work? And he said, it's done. It's done a lot. And you can see, you know, the head's shaved and the flap is created. And you can inject drugs into there. I mean, this is literally, you know, the idea. So ultimately, that reservoir is what's needed here. And, you know, it's not terrible if you're dying. Patients with this disease die very young. Most probably won't make it to 21. So you have to use the Ommaya in this case because enzymes are big molecules. They don't cross the blood-brain barrier very easily. And this is largely a brain disease. The other lysosomal storage diseases, interestingly, many of them affect the brain as well. But patients take the IV because, you know, that's all they've got. And it's sad because the brain is a target organ for a lot of those other lysosomal storage diseases. And some people have experimented off-label, unapproved, with intrathecal delivery, which is through the spinal column, kind of where you take a lumbar puncture, and they insert the drug through there. But Sanfilippo B, this disease, is very, very specifically kind of a brain disease. So by giving the drug intracerebroventricular through the Ommaya, that's sort of how you get the drug there. And what's amazing is these patients, again, they can't metabolize this. Maybe I can show you the enzymatic reaction of that's so funny, 𝗕𝗢𝗓𝗏𝗔𝗬𝗣𝗔𝗟 is this other one, glucocerebrosidase. And so here's the simple enzymatic reaction. So hopefully you can see this. So glucocerebrosidase. And you can see it's a fatty acid with sphingosine and a sugar here. And so the enzyme goes in there and clips the sugar off. And then the fatty acid, sphingosine, is metabolized by something else. But you need this enzyme. You miss this enzyme and this bad boy, the whole thing, will accumulate in many of the cells in your body, if not every cell, in the lysosome. It's going to cause a huge problem as it accumulates and there's no way. I mean, look at this, hugely polar and hugely non-polar regions. You know, this is like a very amphiphilic kind of disgusting molecule that will agglomerate, and you can, in some cases, I mean, it's a really distended sort of cell that's filling up with this. And breaking it apart allows, you know, we have many enzymes that'll not just metabolize glucose, but repurpose it into energy, and then also repurpose the fatty acid into energy. So you have this really terrible situation. And, but when you have the enzyme, this thing clips. So you just measure how much of this do you see in the body. And in the case of the spruce drug, as I showed in the tweet I made yesterday, the patients, their levels of the gunk drop to normal. And that's what's killing them. So it's pretty amazing. So biotech can be a wonderful thing. This is one of the reasons I got into the industry.